Hello?
Oh, hey there. Come in. I've been expecting you. Take a seat.
Thank you.
So, I was told you had an idea for me.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, let's hear it.
Okay, so Red Dead Redemption 2 releases in 2018, right?
Last time I checked.
And it's going to be a large, open world game.
Yes, bigger than GTA 5's map. It's a big deal.
Okay, so here's my idea. We repurpose that map into an online game.
Okay.
Think about it. People already love the map, the controls, the mechanics, the setting. It'll be more fun for them and less work for us.
So similar to what San Diego did with the release of Red Dead Redemption?
Sort of. More along the lines of what we did with GTA Online.
Okay. No, I think I see where you're coming from.
Great.
Well, here's my qualm, all right? We're spending a lot of money on this game to begin with.
Right.
And you mentioned GTA Online. That is a huge revenue source for us. I think it may be difficult to justify diverting the money that would otherwise go to GTA Online to this game just for basic upkeep. So what are we going to say to players who ask for support with this game?
Oh, one sec. Can I use this?
Sure.
This is what we tell them.
You son of a... Get to work.
Even if you aren't a Red Dead player, you likely know what I'm talking about here. Because even though you won't find Red Dead Online on any of the most played lists from those gaming journalists who just say stuff all the time, Red Dead Online is arguably one of the most owned online multiplayer games ever. Because anyone who purchases a copy of Red Dead Redemption 2 automatically gets a copy of Red Dead Online. Red Dead Redemption 2 is like the 7th best-selling game of all time, so that puts RDO right up next to it. And technically, that means RDO is the 6th best-selling online game of all time. Because Wii Sports is not an online game, unfortunately. I wish it was. And because it's so widely owned, it's just a fact that you're going to hear something about it. And you would think that Rockstar Games, with possession of the 6th best-selling online game of all time, would give some small amount of support to that game at the very least. But like I said in the skit, you'd be wrong. Because you only have to scroll up a little bit in that Wikipedia page to find Rockstar Games' real cash cow. A game which is second only to Minecraft itself. GTA is not only the most lucrative game of all time, but also the most lucrative IP of all time. It's beating Star Wars. Trevor is beating Darth Vader in a fight for monetary gain. That guy had the Force. Naturally, most of the money that Rockstar Games makes goes almost directly back into GTA Online because, again, it is their main moneymaker. And unfortunately, that leaves Red Dead to just barely glean what's left. But I don't need to explain that concept to you. You get it. That's business. And you may be asking, well, so what if it's underfunded and undersupported? What would you do to make it better? Am I glad you asked? I got a lot to say about this game. I play this game way too much. I think about it all the time. I'd say the amount of time I play, but that's gonna change between the time I record this and I get this screenshot. That is a lot, though. That is a lot of time. A lot of that's the base game, though, you gotta believe me. But to truly criticize this game, I need to start with what this game has done right. I need to start with... Talking about this game is a difficult line for me to walk, because while I am regularly very frustrated with this game, I love the game as well. So to have this conversation, again, we need to talk about what the game has done right, but I'll try to keep it brief. I initially started playing this game with my buddy Alex, pictured here. He looks like this in real life, by the way. And he shares my love for the franchise of Red Dead Redemption. For both of us, it was kind of like a last resort for Red Dead. We had played all the other Red Dead stuff. Heck, I played Red Dead Revolver before I played this game. And I think that is one of the biggest draws to this game, if not the biggest. The controls, music, atmosphere, world as a whole are all built on the foundation of that first game. And taking that world and adding new things, to me, is what makes the game interesting. For instance, story mode has a great compendium of weapons, and RDO takes that and adds to it. It gives you guns like the Navy revolver or the elephant rifle.
Ow.
Other weapons like the reinforced lasso or the bolas. Any of the throwables. I love the throwables. It's very satisfying to like kill a player with one.
I'm just that good. Hey, I got the tomahawk.
And that's a big aspect of the game. You take the controls from the game and you add a little bit of a PvP element into it. Some features are lost, obviously. You can't slow down time with Deadeye. But those aspects are replaced with things like ability cards, which I think are very cool. Some of them are essential, like the Painted Black ability, which basically gives you the Deadeye ability from the early game, except it doesn't slow down time. And some are less essential, cards that make you deal more damage when you're on horseback, or let you survive one headshot if you're wearing a hat for some reason. He should have had that card, if we're being honest. And each of these cards can be upgraded by gaining XP and paying a somewhat hefty sum of money for a slightly better ability on the card. All in all, I think the combat in this is pretty fun for PvP. It's weighty, it feels good, it's still fast-paced, but some of the most fun that I've had in this game, or honestly any online game, is running around somewhere like Saint Denis and fighting some other band of outlaws with my ragtag band of troglodytes trying as hard as they can to be Arthur Morgan, but I'm the most like Arthur Morgan. Me. I'm Arthur Morgan. Now, speaking of a ragtag posse of troglodytes, posses themselves are a very nice addition to the game. I kind of view it as an expansion of camp in the base game, so I'm gonna kind of lump camp and posses into the same talking point. You can go on missions as a group, start PvE events as a group, do bounties as a group, run your own personal camp as a group, donate to camp and have it actually matter at all, unlike in the base game. The camp also has a dog. You can get a dog for your camp. My dog's name is Dusty. Dusty doesn't do jack shit, but to be fair, neither does my real life dog. You can customize your camp, including this guy. His name is Crips. We'll talk about him later, but for now I'll just say I have him in a funny hat. You can place your camp in any region of the map, and sometimes it randomly places you in an actual camp location from the base game, which is always, pretty cool. Right next to camp and posse, there's the moonshiner role. With the moonshiner role, you get to make, you guessed it, moonshine, and you make money off of that by delivering a wagon full of moonshine to other buyers. Which is how camp's money-making system works with the trader role as well, but that's off in the weeds. They really like making you deliver things in this game, though. There's one game mode in this that I particularly enjoy called Call to Arms, which is basically like a waves type of game. It's genuinely pretty challenging to the point that playing the base game has become a little too easy because of how much practice I've had. And you have all these little NPC allies who, they fight with you and you have to heal them in between waves, and if you run away during the animation, you run like this. And all the enemies you have to fight, they all trash talk you. Very well-written lines. And there are more specific things that I really like about this game. I made a whole list of them with Alex. Things like monthly rewards, where you get a new outfit that's community made. I think that's pretty cool. There's holiday updates, where they make the map a little more festive and have special events for you. Or things like Shoot Trace. Wait. Shoot Trace. I didn't write that. Alex. The biggest part for me, though, is the hanging out aspect as a whole. Just among me and my friends, there have been so many hilarious moments of just wrecking our horses.
Please tell me you were recording that.
Or killing each other's horses. Or killing each other. Or tying each other up. Genuinely, this can be just some of the most fun you can have with friends online. But it's time we get into the real meat here, okay? Because for everything that I can name about this game that I like, that's in the good list, I can name something for list. Sorry, it doesn't make sense to just say something for the bad. That's not correct. I already talked about this at the beginning of the video, but every problem in this game stems from a virtual lack of support altogether. That and a barely non-zero amount of moderation. You know what? Forget content updates for a minute. This game has untreated, genuine design flaws like no other. It has graphical glitches. It has wild input errors that just happen randomly. Recently, the game stopped displaying names for stuff. Like, I named my posse the Morally Greys as a sort of inside joke because all of our characters have gray hair. I like that name, now it just uses my gamer tag instead. Nobody can see Dusty's name, he's just Camp Dog. Camp Dog, Dusty. Whenever you finish a mission with other people, it sometimes duplicates your character models, and they bump into each other like they don't expect the duplicate clone of them to be there. Why? You could fix that, I'm sure. Sometimes characters and missions just can't be interacted with. Sometimes it just crashes.
Ah, I crashed.
Just crashes. Why? Because error code FFFFFFF. Each F stands for fuck you. I've legitimately only had one game crash more times than Red Dead Online, and that was Fallout New Vegas. You know, the game that wasn't really finished? Yeah, that was the only other one. But the worst glitches in this game are the ones that choose to be. You know what I'm talking about. You knew before you clicked on this video. Doesn't matter if you've played Red Dead Online for 5 years. It doesn't matter if you've never played the game before. You know. I'm talking about hackers. And you may be thinking, okay, but hackers aren't really glitches. I don't think that makes sense. Shut up. Shut it. Why are you going to bat for these people? Now, it's not just a lack of support thing. Rockstar has genuinely had trouble with hackers for a long time. GTA Online is their baby, and they have hackers there. It comes with the territory of being an online game in the form that they have it, and it also comes with the territory of being Rockstar. But it is particularly bad in Red Dead Online. Comically bad, and it's not just something like aimbots. It's something like... Or something like...
Whoa.
What?
This feller's flying. Awesome.
It is to the point, and it is such a problem, that I cannot take this game seriously, and it is one of my favorite games. If you go to any RDO online communities, you see people talking about the roleplay that they do with their characters. I don't know how you can take it seriously enough to do that. I saw somebody post something on a page where it was like, how does your character's story end, like your RDO character? You mean, how does he die? Well, that's easy. He was turned into a giant flying saucer and exploded 37 times consecutive by a flaming, omnipotent, naked cowpoke screaming something in Brazilian. Oh, but yours caught TB. That's original. But you know what? I'm not gonna sit here and act like Red Dead Online would be a perfect game without these glitches and without these hackers everywhere. In fact, I'm pretty well used to them at this point. Besides the crashes, nothing about them is genuinely game-breaking. I've gotten pretty used to just checking like the player lists and seeing if there's a hacker on there. That way I can just switch sessions if I want to. There are workarounds for these things. What can't be worked around is the structure of the game itself. And I think this game structure is partially to blame for the hackers that we have and why RDO is for some reason just so attractive to them. And the big issue that I'm referring to here is the barrier to entry. Because the start of this game is slow. It's real slow. Starting out, you basically have jack squat. If you do the tutorial, you get a free horse that sucks. You start with a cattleman revolver and I believe a carbine repeater. Look me in the eye. Actual garbage. Now, if you want to earn money to change this by buying more guns, there are a couple ways you can do it. You can open treasure chests, which are, you know, rare. You can do various little missions. You can even do some call to arms, but at low level, you should only do that if you hate yourself. Call to arms can give you $250 and 1 gold bar if you do it to completion. That means you have to kill 528 dudes. Early game, that's gonna take you a long time and you are gonna run out of ammo. So I hope you're really, really good at melee. But I digress. What I'm saying is, when you start the game, you have just about nothing, and it takes a while to change that. Like, you don't even have a coat. And the first coat you can get is level locked. I think it's like level 5. And that sucked for me because when I started the game, it was winter, and they like to make the ground snowy in winter, and also the temperature's colder. I was freezing the whole time. But more importantly, the way to earn money in any substantial amount is to get a role. You got Naturalist, Collector, Trader, Moonshiner, and Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter is one of the biggest draws to the game, especially since it gives you more gold than any of the other roles. But to get this role, you need 15 gold gold bars. 15 gold bars. It takes like 2 actual work days to get that much. And I'm taking that from a consensus from people who already play the game, have their roles, and have good ways to get gold in the first place. Say I make $25 an hour. That means 15 gold is worth like $400 of my time. But hey, not even Rockstar thinks that's reasonable, because you can go to their store and buy 350 gold bars for $100. Or sorry, $99.99 plus tax, okay? But that's why they do that. That's why they make the earning system so slow. It's because Rockstar wants to frustrate you into spending real money on their stupid fake money. But that's not gonna work all the time. You know, you're not always going to get people to engage with microtransactions. Honestly, I barely do myself. The only online game I've ever spent any money on is Fortnite, and it wasn't because it was a barrier to entry for the actual game. It was, I wanted to make Omni-Man do a little dance, to be honest with you. But that's especially true when gold really isn't worth all that much after early game. Like, your rolls all cost a lot of gold, but once you've bought your rolls, the only thing that you can really get with gold are like cosmetic items. Like, you really think I'm going to put in the work for 52 gold bars just to buy an Arthur Morgan outfit? Because you'd be right, but it's still dumb. If you don't incentivize grinding in a game like this, you're really only going to hold on to die-hard fans of the game like me and mine, or you're going to become this playground for people who have found a way to subvert the leveling system in the game. And you know what? It's kinda hard to blame them. Don't get me wrong, I still blame them, but you can't get a double-barrel shotgun until like level 30. I've been playing with another friend who's like way newer to the game than I am, and he told me he didn't like shotguns very much. You know why? Because he's been having to play with this motherfucker. You gotta use this thing point blank to be useful whatsoever. My point is obvious, and it's that Rockstar or Take-Two or whoever's fault it is for making the game this way is doing it on purpose. Yeah, technically the game is free, but only if you're putting an either ungodly or unemployed amount of work into it. Really, the only reason that I'm as high level as I am in that game is because I was unemployed. Only thing I had to do was like a math class. And I sat on the Zoom and played Red Dead Online instead. I got a C in that class. It wasn't great. And you know what? Even then, Alex and I were tempted to learn how to hack the game anyway, just so we could be on par with the other hackers. But I have a feeling that's what they all say, and that's like, you know, it's dancing with the devil, like falling to the dark side. So that's what I'm concerned about here, my mortal soul. But let's keep walking down the progression line here. Say you get your 15 gold bars. Now you get to start using a roll and slowly working your way through the levels. Your most consistent way to get money is through bounty missions, or you can look up this online map where you can spend hours searching for collectible items with the collector roll. You can also pay another 15 gold and a couple $100 to get a trading wagon for crypts, where you have to take the time to hunt enough animals to donate to crypts to accumulate 100 goods, which takes about 3 hours and 20 minutes to fully accumulate, and then you can make this about 20-minute delivery for about $625. That is after you have paid for the roll and put a bunch of money in for the wagon. That amount of time that it takes is a lot of time, more than what one person will generally spend on the game in one sitting. So those last two, the collector roll and the trader roll, take time inherently. You know, it's scavenger hunting and regular hunting. Notoriously long processes in real life. Same with making deliveries. I mean, we're not Amazon, and thank God. But there are also things that aren't incredibly difficult to do. Yes, it takes a while, but the collector roll is mainly just looking at a map and finding stuff. The trader roll is just driving a big wagon and shooting the occasional animal, and then picking it up and giving it to this crusty old man. By the way, unspoken rule about crypts, you kill crypts at any given opportunity.
Okay, kill him quick. Let's go.
Is that it? Is he dead?
Oh yeah, he's dead. Run. Run.
Yo, kill my Crips.
He's mine!
But besides having to kill Crips, it's not a particularly difficult role. So it kind of makes sense that it takes a while to have a payout. And that's all fine as good as long as there is a faster, maybe more difficult way to make money. And when I say that, of course, the mind immediately springs to the bounty hunter role. With the bounty hunter role, the main moneymaker here is the legendary bounty board. With this board, you can start a mission and take out a bounty on any one of these various characters on their the roster. You find them and you can bring them in dead or alive. You actually have to fight in this one. Like, you can legitimately get killed and fail the mission. Every time you beat a mission, it gets a little more difficult. The enemies get a little stronger. You get less lives to do it in, and eventually you even lose the use of the minimap. But every time that happens, you get a larger and larger payout. So you're probably thinking, oh, okay, so that's the fast but difficult payout. And you, my friend, would be wrong. Why? Because for one, you have to wait a total of 1 hour between legendary bounties. That's right, at your most efficient, you are getting 1 legendary bounty per hour. Not only does this limit how hard you can milk this, but it also limits the rate at which you can level up the difficulty on any particular bounty. It takes 5 hours to get bounties to the highest level. Just a singular bounty out of all the characters on here. Why are we putting this time restriction on here? Do you not want people to play the game? But also, and I think even more egregious than limiting the amount of time that you can put into this, is you are not rewarded for going quickly. If you are an old hat with this game and you're really good and you can get all the guys killed and the one guy tied up very quickly, or if you took the time to strategize with your friends on how to get this bounty in the quickest way possible, you are not rewarded for it. In fact, you are punished for going as fast as you can. This isn't urine, by the way. This is Poppy. I have it here. Check this out. We'll use an example. One of these bounties, his name is Sergio Vencheska. I think that's how you say it. Love this guy. He has an opening monologue that plays every time you start or restart the mission, and you cannot skip it, so everyone I play with has it memorized to a T.
My brother, liberty is shackled at all costs. That is how government works. I used to use this rifle to fight for them, but now it is turned the other way. Whatever happens, you must be strong, amigo.
Okay. When you do his mission, the base pay that you get is $125 for bringing him in alive. If he is a 5-star bounty, which is the most difficult bounty, you're paid $187. However, you will likely never see this amount. Why? Because there are time multipliers. I didn't have the exact numbers before, but I found a chart on Reddit, which is notoriously always correct. However, it has tracked with how I've played. If you were, by some miracle, or by hacking, to turn Sergio in within 1 minute of starting your mission, a multiplier of 0.05 would be applied to your payout. Let me say that again. 0.05. This number increases incrementally every minute that goes by until you hit the 30-minute mark, where you have a multiplier of 1. What? The only way that you get the full payout is if you spend an entire half hour on this mission. And the missions aren't that hard. That generally means going AFK. Even though you will get kicked for idling more than 13 minutes. Who wants to go AFK anyway? For $187. Yeah, no thanks. That's like 1 coat in this game. So you know what? That's not really fast, is it? In fact, it disincentivizes speed by paying you less when you go fast, and then making you wait an hour in between bounties. Oh, you finished your bounty in 20 minutes? Well, great. Here's $2. Why don't you go entertain yourself some other way for the next 40 minutes, and then we'll have another legendary bounty ready for you. These mistakes don't feel like mistakes. They don't feel like poor game design. They feel intentional. And then the meager amount of money that they give you, you can take and spend on items that cost more than they do in the base game. You know, the game that took place a year later. What was there, like a major recession in 1898? Was 1899 the end of a major recession? And on top of all of that BS, you're regularly charged more money to have a camp, which is a thing you have to have. You load in with a camp. You can make it more expensive, but you can never not have a camp. You're also charged for having extra horses that you keep in a stable. And yeah, it's only a couple bucks, but like rent? In a video game. You don't even have to pay rent in the base game. which is arguably and Googleably the most immersive game ever made. Your horse's balls shrink in the cold in that game. Still no rent. They didn't have to make your horse's balls shrink, by the way. They just did that. No rent though. Again, it feels like they're slowing your progression down by wasting your time, taking a little bit of your money, just so that you go to their online shop and buy a little bit more in-game currency. That's one of my biggest gripes with this game. Yeah, there aren't forced microtransactions, and you can legitimately play this game for $0 beyond the base game. I've done just that, but there are plenty of people who will not do that. And that sad, but understandable fact is going to manifest itself by people either abstaining from the game, giving up on the game, or cheating at the game. Or being like me and still playing for some reason. I don't know why, but I do like the game. But you know what? I've complained enough about the time constraints in this game for now, so let's look at a couple other things. Speed round, if you will. The naming system in this game sucks. I talked about it earlier, but there's a little more that goes into it. It has a ridiculous censorship system, and I know that sounds bad, but like, hear me out. Alex got a horse last year and he wanted to name the horse Butterscotch. He wasn't allowed to name his horse Butterscotch because it had the word... Here, I'll whisper it into the mic so I don't get demonetized. But in it. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I mean, it had the B word in it. But not, like, so yeah, he named it Boy Toy instead, which is a nice Christian name. About a week later, I bought a horse and I went ahead and named it Butterscotch. That was fine. Why was it okay for me to name my horse Butterscotch but not Alex? Because I only meant good in my heart. And yeah, like automated censorship systems are always gonna have like weird oversights in them. That's just what you expect. But this is a game where you can explode people's heads with a shotgun. But even though that can be in the game, you cannot say but. Sorry, I'll bleep that out. What else? Robbing was completely removed from the game. You can't rob stores, you can't rob trains, you can't rob NPCs. I mean, technically you can't. You can still hogtie them and just steal their stuff. We know why, obviously, because that would be too easy, you know? That way you could make too much money and have too much fun with the game. Don't get me wrong, it would be very annoying if players could kill shopkeepers, but I think it could be done in a way that was not disruptive to other players. The disincentive in the base game for robbery is mainly honor loss. In this game, honor is just a number. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't affect encounters or dialogue. Because you don't have any dialogue, you just kind of nod and smile. It certainly doesn't decrease any prices in stores because again, that would be too easy. And then you wouldn't have to spend all this money on their online store. All of this goes back to wasting your time, I swear. But hey, enough about the irredeemable, stupid decisions made for this game. Some mistakes in this game downright suck. But some of the mistakes are built on some pretty good ideas. It's called Red Dead Redemption for a reason. There are some very redeemable parts of this game. Things that are cool but executed poorly. I call this section... I want to start off this segment with the mechanic nearest and dearest to my heart, and that is the posse. I talked about this already, but I love the social aspect in this game. I love hanging out in the open world with my friends. I know I'm not alone in that. Just the other day, we came across two guys just sitting in camp, discussing the deeper things in life.
Did we ever finish debating my idea that if this was the apocalypse and I was like in charge of a little encampment or village or something?
Oh yeah. I
would want to put down people I perceived as sociopaths or monsters.
Whoa.
I feel like I'm not gonna do it tonight. I'm way too high. But I feel like we have to like look up some studies on like what their progeny is like. I'm also kind of justifying eugenics, so we can't deny that either.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah. Yep.
And while posses are perfect for that, they're actually dog shit for everything else. For instance, you can pay for a posse of up to 7 people. That's double the price of a regular posse, which is already dumb, but whatever. Having a posse of 7 people is fine and dandy for hanging out. It also makes your camp a little bigger, which is cool. But you cannot use it for missions at all. You can't do just about any mission with more than 4 people. You can't do legendary bounties, you can't do call to arms. You are legitimately restricted to things like deliveries and other random world events that you come across. what if I have more than 3 friends? I do, by the way. I do. I don't understand the restriction here. I really don't. I guess it would make the missions a little too easy, but okay. Make them harder then. I don't care. But as far as just hanging out goes, there's not a lot of just things that you can do with your friends. Not a lot of activities. Think about it. In the base game, there are a plethora of mini games and activities that you can do with your fake cowboy friends who are not real and do not actually care about you. You have dominoes, you have poker, you have blackjack, you have 5-finger fillet, you have races, you have taking a bath. In Red Dead 1, in addition to the games that you can do in the first game, you have horseshoes, arm wrestling, and my personal favorite, Liar's Dice. You can't do most of those things in RDO. And that's odd to me because these minigames are made to simulate a social experience. And now that you have the opportunity to implement these minigames in a social setting, your response is to reduce the minigames that you can play to almost none? Why? In RDO, you can play poker. You can either play with your posse or in the general public. That's great. That's great. I like higher limits for the amount that you can buy in with. Maybe like a high stakes poker game. It's fine though, whatever. The house also takes a ridiculous amount of money every time you win a hand. Even though there isn't even a dealer in the room, it's just guys sitting at a table. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but you have to remember, fuck you. There's also like a racing minigame you can join or a battle royale minigame that you can join or similar types of events like that. The problem with that is there's often not enough people trying to play the game for matchmaking to work, so it's just, you just can't do anything. It often just means that you're trapped in a lobby with a hacker who's just going to cheat to win. Because why not? But even if like we were to take those mini games and confine them to just the posse so you can play amidst each other without having to worry about hackers or anything like that, there is still a distinct lack of hanging out activities. Sure, we have poker, but where are all the other games? Where are games like blackjack or dominoes or 5-finger fillet or horseshoes? Why can't I play Liar's Dice or do arm wrestling or take a bath with Alex's character and I'm the bar girl like it is in the base game and I walk in with Alex's character model, I'm using VR, I have a VR headset on and it's like right there in front of me and it's so funny to me that this game that is made for just kicking around and having a good time has very little actual way to do that. Like there's even a moonshine shack that you can purchase with a bar and live music and dancing and brutal bar fights. But I can't sit down and play a game? You're telling me I can get hammered and pick out jingle bells on a bass violin, but I can't sit down and play a game of poker with the boys? You're telling me I can't even have a nice relaxing VR bath with the boys? What's even the point then? In my opinion, the Naturalist role is also a very large fumble. It's pretty cool on its face. The main purpose of the role is to sedate and sample animals, which you do with not tranquilizer dart or sedative bait, but 22 rounds. Rounds, plural. You have to shoot them many times with these 22 bullets, but that's besides the point though. That will give you XP, and as you level up, you'll eventually get access to these legendary animal hunts in which you can hunt down legendary animals. It's at this point in the game that you can decide between either sampling the animals and selling their samples or killing the animal and turning it in for a slightly higher reward. You can sell the carcass to this guy, Gus McMillan, who will give you a little more money and also give you the option to buy a specialized, like, clothing item. Or you can get like a special trinket with special like static abilities depending on what you bring them. After a little more leveling, you get these randomly occurring legendary animal hunts where you can just like be, you know, on your horse somewhere and you'll get a little blip on your mini map that there's an animal nearby and you can hunt it down. Now on its face, this seems like a really fun role, right? Hunting is a really well-made portion of the base game, so of course it would translate really well over to the online portion, right? Right? You see, this is where we meet the villain of our story, Harriet Davenport. Harriet is this biologist who has very strong opinions on wildlife. When you first meet her, she drugs you with like this acid-laced bear spray, and it makes you hallucinate that there's a room full of taxidermied animals trying to kill you. And that pretty much sets the tone for the rest of your interactions with that character. You see, after you start this role, you get this little notification every time you kill an animal that says killing animals will cause Harriet to become increasingly upset. And initially, you don't know what that means. That is, until you go to interact with her after killing a couple animals to either do another Naturalist mission or sell some of your very ethically sourced samples. And you find out that upset actually means she'll spray you with her acid-laced bear spray and dump you in some random spot in the woods. And what's worse, after she drugs you and drops you somewhere, she won't speak to you for like another solid 10 minutes. Over killing an animal? In 1899? Dog, I can't just go to Walmart every time I need food. And she always knows when you kill an animal because word travels fast in the forest. You know what else travels fast in the forest, Harriet? Bullets. If I could shoot you, Harriet, I would. I don't think that's unreasonable either, because that is assault what she's doing. She is constantly drugging me without my consent. I do keep coming back, but I don't want her to do it any of the times that she does it. Don't get me wrong, I get the idea here. They want you to be this big old tree-hugging hippie liberal who loves every animal and will not harm them except with 22 rounds. It's trying to make this dichotomy between her and Gus McMillan. The problem is it doesn't really fit the game. There are missions in this where you just have to kill animals.
Whoa! Oh, I'm so dead.
No, I got... Oh, crap.
Peter Griffin.
There are times when animals just run directly in front of your horse while you're going down the road and kill themselves. They are roadkill. Sometimes they're in the way, you gotta run them over. And that counts. Heck, even if there weren't unavoidable times when you have to kill an animal, killing animals is a central mechanic to the game. You eat that way, you make money that way. Good luck being a trader if you're not killing animals. You can't turn them in alive. You can't give Crips samples. Only sample I'm giving Crips is some lead from my gun. In fact, one of the best parts of having the Naturalist role is being able to give Crips the pelts from the legendary animal that you killed. Because it gives a lot, it like fills up half the progress bar on your trader roll. It's just not really realistic to play the game without killing animals sometimes. And that would be fine if there was some kind of punishment for it, if you could like interact with Gus to get the legendary animal missions instead, but you can't. And even if it was doable, the upsides to being a PETA activist in this game by no means outweigh the hassle. The only upside, really, is Harriet not being mad at you and putting you in timeout. Like, the upside is not being further annoyed. I'm not really playing a Western game to be preached at about animal rights while I'm being asked to shoot them several times with a 22 round. But the game really pushes it. Say you want to sedate an animal, right? You want to sedate it, sample it, and then kill it. That way you can skin it and get its pelt. That is literally the least honorable thing you can do in the game. It will take the most honor possible. It will take more honor from you to kill an animal that you've sedated than it does to shoot an innocent person in the face in Saint Denis. And even though you already paid the price for your misdeed and honor loss, you still can't skin the animal that you just killed, right? You already lost, like, you got the moral downsides. Why can't I skin it? Where's the dichotomy now? Meanwhile, Harriet will send you on missions to save animals from poachers, hunters, who you have to fully murder.
Some poachers have made camp close by. If we can strike back, teach them a lesson, maybe reduce some of this mindless killing.
You have to murder them. It's their job to hunt animals and you're killing them. Homicide I can excuse, but animal cruelty is where I draw the line. And to make it all worse, Harriet is really pretty. I keep trying to get her attention with all the blood I take from those animals that she has me shoot 20 times, but she keeps spraying me with bear drugs instead. And it's just giving me mixed signals. Another portion of this game that I would consider ugly is the leveling system. I have genuinely very mixed feelings about the leveling system in this game. Because I think having barriers makes a lot of sense. You don't really want new players jumping in and having access to all the cool things that you do, and having progression in a game can be very compelling. That said, there are a lot of times when it is a real drag. Some weapons are locked behind level barriers, and a lot of very useful ammo is locked behind level barriers. You have to be like level 90 to get some of the explosive ammo rounds, which are absolutely killer in PvP battles. Again, I get this one, but like I said before, a friend of mine who started playing a little more recently just leveled up enough to get a shotgun. Like, just barely. And he has days of playtime. Playing with me, who's pretty high level and has the ability to do these high payout missions with him in the posse so he can get all that XP. He's moving up a lot quicker than I was able to. But the thing is, there's absolutely a skill curve on this game. You're not necessarily going to be good at this game just because you're good at games. If you're good at games, you're probably more likely to, but it's not automatic, you know? The controls feel more like having a big old meat puppet that you're, piloting around rather than controlling a Spartan or a Fortnite character. I think allowing newer players to at least have more competitive guns and ammo wouldn't be the end of the world. And honestly, I think it would encourage them to, stick around, which is a problem that Red Dead has. So yeah, that would definitely help. On the other hand, having level barriers for cosmetics make a lot of sense to me. That way there's still a reward for being a long-time player and it's not crippling the early game experience. That said, the cosmetics in this game are lacking. There are some very cool cosmetics, some that I wish were in the base game, but on the other side of the coin, there are a lot of cosmetics in the base game that I would love to have in RDO. I had a lot of trouble finding just a hat that looked good on my character. I spent 52 gold to get this hat. This hat. 52 gold bars. You know how much 52 gold bars are worth? There are different outfits for the different roles that you can get as you level up too. But the role outfits are... Alex actually wrote some notes on these. Let's pull them up. Here's his cons list. He just says every role outfit. Too many cosmetic items look stupid and out of place in a Western setting. Too many spiked leather outfits. This is RDO, not Columbine Simulator. Jeez Louise. He's right though. I mean, it's true. Some of this stuff is cheesy as all get out. You know, those corny guys who did Columbine? But it is crazy to make a Western game and not pull your inspiration from popular Western media or history, and instead you take your inspiration from Hot Topic. The leather looks like it's synthetic. This is not tough. This is corny. But you know what? Enough negativity. This game isn't perfect, but we know that. That's the one thing about this game that everybody knows. But I can't just rail against this game without some kind of solution, right? I mean, I could, but I'm not gonna. I have to ask myself the question, how would I make this game more successful? How could I make this game good? Fix this game to bring it back into relevance for... Yeah, no, that was a stretch. I wanted another title card. But yeah, let's build this game up from the basic. First off, everything from the good segment stays. I love this game structure. If I didn't, I wouldn't have like 15 days in it. Now, as far as fixing things goes, let's fix all the bugs. Let's just say that. Let's ban all the hackers. Shut up. This is my fantasy. I know that's not simple without a lot of money. Let's just say GTA Online has exploded and vanished into thin air. And now RDO is getting all the attention. How about that? So now we have all the funds we need, and we can afford to go catch those bugs. And if you're caught hacking, not only will you be banned, but we're gonna hire real Pinkertons, and we're gonna send them to your home, and they'll light your house on fire. That's a page right out of Wizards of the Coast book. Everything from the bad, removed. It's gone. The payout multiplier is completely revamped. The base payout is at 30 minutes. The payout doubles for every 10 minutes you knock off of that time. Wait between missions, completely gone. But hey, let's not stop there. Let's make this whole bounty system a little more compelling. Remember when I mentioned that the Naturalist role has these animals that will spawn out in the wild that are legendary and you can just hunt them down on the fly? Let's bring that into legendary bounty missions. And you know what? How about this? The bounties are progressive. Let's say the first one starts with a mission, and after that, you have to either hunt them down or like buy a tip as to where your bounty is. No need for a bunch of story around them or cutscene.
My brother, liberty will be shackled at all costs. That is how government works.
And every time you encounter them, they get a little stronger. They get higher health, they get faster, they get more friends to help them. And if you have multiple of these bounties, there's a possibility that they will work together. And you get progressively more and more money every time that you capture them and turn them in. However, if you kill them, your progression with that bounty ends right there. And then you have to start over with another one. Doesn't that seem cool? You can focus all of your energy into this one bounty and make a real big bad for your character to go after. It's like a nemesis system. I've been playing Shadow of Mordor recently. How could you tell? I'm gonna switch gold to a less arbitrary system. Like, let's make 1 gold bar worth about $25. Gold can still be earned slowly through bounty missions and what have you, and it can still be found in chests. But now we can give some purpose to bank buildings that are just sitting around and not being used, and turn gold into them for actual cash payout. Speaking of banks, let's add robbery back into the game. Stores can be robbed now like they can in the base game. And just like in the base game, the law is alerted when you leave, and there's an even longer cooldown for how long it takes till you can come back and interact with that shop again. And obviously, you'll lose honor for it too. You'll get a 50% discount if you are as honorable as possible, and you'll get a 50% fee if you're not honorable. Also, this guy, I didn't talk about him. I hate this guy. You can pay him gold and he'll change your honor for you. He's in all the main missions and he really cares about honor, but he's a freak. He's a little freak. And it's stupid. You shouldn't be able to pay to change your honor. That's dumb. He's getting clipped. That's right. We're watching him die on screen. He should have the card that saves you if you get headshot with your hat on, but it's not gonna matter because he's getting shot 50 times in the head. But he can't buy morality, idiot. If you want to change your honor, you gotta work for it. You gotta try to do the right thing. You gotta take a gamble that love exists and do a loving act. Honor is also just really undynamic when it comes to PvP, so we're gonna change that. If you damage another player, for the rest of the encounter with that player, you are going to be the only one who loses honor when you kill them. And I mean you lose honor every time you kill them. I think this, combined with the honor incentive that I'm adding, would fix the griefing issue by a pretty large margin. Because right now, honor is just kind of meaningless. And to be honest, so is hostility. As it currently stands, you can press charges against a player if they kill you, and then it'll add like a 50-cent hike on their bounty and increase their hostility for a time so people can see them from farther, but that doesn't even last. Like, it disappears after a couple minutes. That said, besides those things, I think the PvP setup is just about perfect. I think the inherent gut-wrenching distrust that you feel for any player showing up on your minimap is perfect for the Wild West setting. Any one of these guys could be Judge Holden as far as you know. The only thing standing between you going about your day and your lights being shot out by some random cowboy is the goodness of their own heart. It's like the cowboy version of the shopping cart problem. That is me, yeah. I also think cards are a really cool way to like customize your experience and make a build for yourself. I don't even think I would change much for the leveling system except lower the requirements for some more basic weapons. Character customization though could use a lot of changes. Level barriers are fine with this, but Alex is right. We need a lot less basic cosplayer leather and some more genuinely good looking Western wear. I think it is fun to have some ridiculous outfits and we should definitely keep those, but there should be some genuinely good outfits that do not cost 52 gold. I'd also add some better hairstyles in and change the amount that it costs to get them, because in 1899, haircuts did not cost that much, especially the ones that cost gold. Who does this barber think he is, you greedy f***? How hard is it to cut hair? I'd also like to see weight be a little more dynamic. Right now, weight is a factor in gameplay. It affects your health and your stamina, but it isn't really reflected cosmetically. Gameplay-wise, yeah, your character changes weight, but that weight never correlates to the way that they look, so they always just look the way they were when you made the character. I think it would be cool if it could change the appearance of your character too. It doesn't have to be a drastic amount, but I think it would make sense. My character is super thin, but he is like very overweight because I have to feed him all the time. Honestly, it would be cool to even have hair growth work the same way it does in the base game, where you can pick a style, but it is going to get longer and then you can go get it cut. Or, heck, cut it in camp. You know, if it's just like you want to change the level of it, cut it in camp.
Let's see, what else would I change? How about posse size?
Let's keep the number 7. You can do a mission with 7 people. You can also melee people in your posse. That's a personal thing for me. I like using the hammer. to hit people with a hammer. Of course, like I mentioned, all the mini games from Red Dead are included in this, and some of these should definitely be accessible in camp. Camp should be the spot. I'm talking full-on Barnyard, the movie, the game for the GameCube and PS2, where it is a bona fide hangout spot. Camp should be cozy, man. Same with the Moonshine Shack, especially with the Moonshine Shack, man. You can get hammered there. You should be able to get hammered and take a bath without. I think you should also be able to select exactly where your camp should be on the map. Like, there's so many awesome, like, little hidden away locations in the world. And I just think it would be sick to be like, yeah, I want camp to be right here. And maybe that could be an issue with the trader role because some things might be inaccessible by wagon. But you know what? Make like a designated spot that's like accessible by road, just the nearest accessible spot for where your wagon has to go, whatever. I don't care. It's not like I'm playing this game for immersion. That's gone. That's too far gone. I also think you should be able to donate money and consumables or ammo to other players, specifically players in your posse. It's something that would make like call to arms a lot easier for earlier players who are gonna run out of ammo because they don't have as much ammo space. I just think that would help out a lot. I love the seasonal features in this game. Halloween is honestly one of my favorite times to boot it up. The spooky call to arms is honestly just way more fun than the regular call to arms. Even Merry Call to Arms is really fun, but I think that there could be more done with the seasonal stuff. Maybe we could even have like an Undead Nightmare setup during October. Wouldn't that be cool? Imagine the gameplay is exactly the same, except there are just like groups of zombies trudging through the map, and every town can become infested the exact same way that it can in Undead Nightmare, and it's just up to the players to kill all the zombies in the town and like purify it or whatever it's called in Undead Nightmare. And for Christmas, we could have, I don't know, Christmas Nightmare, where if like you're low honor at the beginning of the season, you're put on the naughty list. And at any point, Santa Claus can come down in his sleigh, S-L-E-I-G-H, and try to slay you, S-L-A-Y. And that's Santa Claus with an E, played by Tim Allen. And if you shoot him, you become Santa. You have to take on the burden of raining down justice upon the unrighteous. Just a thought, that's just spitballing. I'm not sure about that one. How about the Naturalist role? Let's try a couple things. First off, you can kill animals. It's so ridiculously stupid. Harriet should not be omniscient. She can get mad if you kill animals if she sees you do it. And you know what? If you kill a sedated animal, you lose a decent amount of honor. Maybe less of it though, because I really don't think it should be more dishonorable to kill an animal than to, you know, commit cold-blooded murder. But I do think it should have some repercussions. Is it technically exactly the same morally as just killing an animal without sedating it? Yes. It's not like you made a deal with the animal like, okay, so here's what we're gonna do, alright? I'm gonna sedate you with a ridiculous amount of 22 rounds, okay? Just a lot of 22. I'm gonna shoot you a lot, but I won't kill you while you're asleep, okay? Okay, can you shake on it? Alright. But even though it might not make perfect moral sense, I think it's okay to disincentivize having your sample and eating it too. So I'll leave some of the honor loss in there. When you kill them though, you can skin the animal just like before and sell it to Gus. I think that's fine. I also think that the missions that Harriet sends you on to kill poachers should be very, very dishonorable, but give you a lot of Naturalist XP. Whether or not you kill the animal or sample it or whatever. I also think it does make sense that you can't just go out and tame horses like you can in the base game. Being faster makes sense as something that should be hidden behind level barriers. That said, I would love to see the Naturalist role be able to tame horses. You know what? Harriet has horse girl energy anyway. Throw that on there. If you're gonna be the worst, at least double down. You know? Make me a horse person too. Just ruin my life altogether. Not like that. Well, maybe like that. If you look like Harriet Davenport, my DMs are open. Okay, please don't do that. Although if you look like Alex, as fun as it is to fantasize about the things that could have been, the truth is we're never going to get that. And that sucks, but that's the way it is. Rockstar hasn't genuinely given this game support for years. Even the small things are pretty infrequent. The last battle pass thing they had, their club rewards, were like October of last year. They recently stopped supporting their social club where you could like post photos from the game. It's not new, it's just another nail in the coffin. Not just for RDO, but for Red Dead 2 altogether, unfortunately. You know, one of the best-selling games of all time, and it couldn't even get one measly DLC. We've been complaining about a lack of support basically since the game came out, so it's safe to say that no matter matter how much we complain, basically nothing's going to change. But what keeping this discourse up does is gives Rockstar some genuine feedback. That this kind of blatant disregard for games that people paid for is completely unacceptable. That they need to do better in the future with games like Red Dead 3. It, at the very least, tells them that we can tell when they don't care about the games they make. And until they do better, we're not going to give them a pat on the back as though they made some labor of love. Oh. Well, never mind then. Well, folks, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for tuning in. I don't know how much this video will appeal to the YouTube algorithm, since the game itself isn't all that popular, but it's a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. If I never made a video about it, and let's say I died, I think I would have unfinished business, and I would have to haunt YouTube as a ghost until I made the video. And then I'd have to find one of those like ghost hunter guys with a special camera to record me, and I'd have to talk over Demi Lovato singing, and that'd be a hassle, so I figured I'd do it now. But genuinely, thank you so much for being here if you still are. This type of thing is my favorite thing to do. If you want to see more of my stuff, you can follow me on TikTok. I've also started putting stuff out on Spotify lately. I should have a new single coming out for this video actually called Just a Cowpoke. And I should be putting out an album soonish. That's kind of like a side project I've been working on for a bit. If you want to check out my merch, I've got a whole store linked, and there's some pretty cool stuff on there. I'll have all of that linked below, but in the meantime, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, do my taxes for me. I don't know. Get out of here.
Uh-oh. Let's go, dude. Did you see what I did?
Mm-mm.
I bullied him. So he had to lay in the fire. That's so funny. You can flip him off. I'm not flipping him off, he's smoking at me. Oh, wait a minute.
11.9? Is it him?
I think it is. I was really hoping it would knock that guy. Oh, it did.
Huh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The long hair threw me out. Uh-oh.
No! How'd you get away? No, get back here! Get back here!
Third person, I guess. I don't know.
No!
You have your bow?
No.
Your horse is right behind
You
you.
have throwing knives, though.
Your horse is right behind you.
Get over here. Damn it. Oh my god.
Saving that. I can't even.
I hate him so. Are you getting any of this for the video, or are you just doing this for funsies?
It's just for funsies. If there happens to be good video content, you know, whatever.
I shot a woman. I can't shoot women? I cannot believe that was actually her.
Yeah, no, that's... I mean, you can see her on the map.
I wasn't even looking at the map. I just shot the first woman I saw.
Whoa!
Does that say victory?
Yeah, Alex is staying on the horse. Oh, never mind. Oh, he's gonna die. He's dead. He's dead. No, Alex, no, he's no.
But then I would have to cover up.
You don't have to wear the shirt.
Oh crap.
Missionary?
Yes. My job gave me 2 work shirts. Please tell me you were recording that.